So here's what we're building today. We're going to build a simple Zapier chatbot that knows everything about your product and its documentation. So why would you want this? Well, for your users, instead of clicking through dozens of documentation pages to find the answers they are looking for, they can just simply ask this chatbot and it will give them relevant answers, including the links to the sources. And for your organization, instead of spending a lot of time on answering basic customer support questions, you can have this automated with this chatbot. Now, the workflow for this is quite simple. We're going to use an Apify website content crawler to scrape all documentation and convert it to clean markdown. Then, Zapier will take this data and store it inside Zapier Tables with some smart AI indexing. And Zapier AI Chatbot will then use the Zapier table as a knowledge source from which to pull its answers. And the best part, once it's set up, it refreshes automatically and runs on autopilot. Now, before we actually get to building this, let me show you this thing in action. So I'm going to ask it a pretty simple question. Can you tell me what is Apify and what are its common use cases in marketing? Now it's searching the index of my Zapier table to retrieve the answer, and here we go. So it's giving me like a big picture overview of what is the Apify platform, what it's being used for, some common use cases in marketing. It links to the sources of where I can learn more in the documentation. So that's pretty cool. Let's follow up on this. Can you explain what are the Apify actors? Cool. So now here's a deep dive on what actually are the actors, which are the tools you can use to retrieve data from any website imaginable, and what they can do for you. It's very neatly formatted. Again, links to the sources. So let's say, can I actually build my own actor? Well, yes, of course I can. And again, it points me to all the different ways in which I can use Apify's platform capabilities to build custom scrapers for the websites or platforms that might not be in our store yet. All right. So, how do I integrate Apify with Zapier? Give me a step-by-step guide on how to set it up. Amazing, here we go. It even pulls the images from the documentation of the Zapier UI and how to connect Apify and set up a really simple automation. Okay, that's perfect. So let's say I'm an enterprise customer in need of a custom solution and I want to reach out to sales, right? So I need a large-scale custom solution built for my enterprise needs. Can I contact sales? Oh, perfect. It's even prompting me to leave here my name, email, phone, and company, which I'm going to do. So my name is Lucas, my email, like so. Now for the phone number, I'm just going to use some kind of a placeholder, and my company is Apify. Alright, perfect. So it seems like the sales team will get back to me, and yeah, so this is what it can do for you. It's very simple to set up, so let's dive in on how to do this. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is head over to the Apify store inside Apify console. I'm going to choose this website content crawler right here, and this is the perfect scraper for this task. It actually extracts text content from the web page and stores it as a markdown, which is perfect for feeding it to AI models in a use case like this. So here at the input tab, I can see all of these different options on how can I set it up. So, for example, when you're going to be scraping your documentation, just put the homepage of the documentation, which would be this part right here. You can actually enable something like load URLs from the sitemap as well. Crawler type, I leave this in the default setting. And for this demo, I'm just going to want to restrict it to this particular folder so that we don't have a massive data set that we have to wait on. Now here in the crawler settings, you can utilize these globs rules, which can come in pretty handy to kind of restrict the crawler so that it doesn't run away from you and doesn't start chasing all of like the external links and stuff like that. So definitely make sure that you only restrict it to your domain, and that you exclude like common patterns which you actually don't want to be scraped. So for example, you can have all of these file types. You probably don't want to scrape the search results, right? Or HTTP pages. So this way you will also avoid any duplicates in the dataset. Here I would leave these as they are, and you can also leave everything here on default setting. Now in the HTML processing, all of these is enabled by default, which I recommend you leave on. And in the output setting, make sure you toggle Save Markdown. Now, we actually want to integrate this with Zapier. So I have a Zap prepared here, and I just put in a webhook trigger where I'm going to choose Catch Hook. And this will give me a URL of the webhook, which I'll use back inside my console. I will switch here to the Integrations tab, click on webhook right here, start when run succeeded, and put in the webhook URL. Now this way, when the run of the crawler is finished, it's actually going to be sent, the dataset is actually going to be sent inside Zapier. Let's head over back to Zapier so I can show you how to finish this setup. So I already have it all prepared, so I'm just going to quickly fly through this. Don't worry, you're going to get the full template for this, so no need to go into details here. So after I receive the data from Apify, I'm going to fetch this dataset with an Apify node right here. And then I'm going to run a simple JavaScript, which will basically like extract only the data that I'm interested in, which is URL, metadata title, description, and the markdown content of the page. Also, you don't need to worry about writing a script like this. You're going to receive it in the template, and I haven't actually written this myself at all. Of course, I've used AI to help me here. Now, after that, you're going to insert this looping function. After it, a create record in Zapier Tables step, which will actually go through each of the pages and store it in our prepared Zapier table, which we can take a look at here. So I can see that I have prepared 4 fields. One will store the URL and the title of the page. The second one will store the meta description. Long text content, long text field will store the markdown content of the page itself. And here I have this enrich field actually, which you can create like so. And this will actually use AI to parse the markdown content of the page to extract relevant keywords so that the chatbot and faster orient itself across this dataset before diving deep into each particular page to retrieve the information for the user. Okay, we're back to Apify, and we're gonna run this scraper. So I'm gonna click Start here. Now my actor is building in the background, it's starting the crawler, and I should see data being populated here in this output tab very shortly. One interesting piece of information I forgot to mention is that this website content crawler is actually being used by the likes of Intercom to actually power the knowledge source of their Intercom's Fin AI agent, which is also the customer support chatbot. Cool, I can see the crawler already discovered 48 different pages in this folder. I can see that my data is being populated here. Now, this might take a minute or two. Keep in mind that when you're going to be running this crawler for thousands of pages, it might actually take quite a bit of time. For 1500 pages, maybe like an hour. And boom, we're done. We got 50 different pages. Now, this should actually trigger the webhook I set up earlier. So let's take a look at our Zap. Now, if I'm going to go here into Zap Runs and refresh this, I should see very shortly, yes, there it is. The webhook has been triggered. Now it's going through all of this workflow, and I should actually see data being populated here inside this Zapier table in real time. Right, very cool. I can see that these keywords enriched field is being worked on by the AI as well. Perfect. So this is how you get the data for your chatbot. And the last part of this is setting up the chatbot itself. So let's take a look at this. Okay, now to finish our setup, we're going to go into Zapier Chatbot, and we're going to tie this all together. So here in the instruction tabs, in this directive window, I'm going to need to create some sort of a system prompt for the chatbot. Now, this all looks pretty complicated, but it's not. You're actually going to use AI to write the system prompt for you. Basically, go into ChatGPT, Claude, or any LLM client of your choice. Briefly describe your use case or what you're trying to solve here. Tell it what's your structure of the table from which it should pull the data. Paste everything in and tell it to basically create a system prompt for a chatbot. And it should give you something like this, which you're going to paste inside here. Here in this knowledge tab, I'm going to simply connect my Zapier table, which I already did. And I've also included this llms.txt webpage, which is something like a sitemap for AI. You may or may not have this. This is basically giving the chatbot like some extra index to orient itself, which is very useful when you get that scale of like 1,000+ pages like me, but it's not completely necessary. Here in this logic tab, you can see I've also set up this collect leads thing, which you might have saw earlier, where I put my personal information. This is basically triggered when a user inputs certain keywords here, like sales, enterprise, or account manager, and it basically prompts the user to give this information, which is then stored inside another table, which you can then utilize to reach out back to those users. Here I can play around with the look of my chatbot. In the integrations tab, I can even connect this to something like Slack or Facebook Messenger so that my customers can talk to me through these channels as well. In the AI model tab, I'm going to simply select my AI provider and select the model, which I've chose Claude Sonnet 4.5 here. And there's some other extra settings here. Now, I can then simply share this chatbot with this public link, like so, which opens up this window where I did the demo earlier. Or I can simply embed it on my site as like a pop-up window or an inline chat. And that's about it. Like I said, it's very simple to set up and get going, and you're going to get all of the templates for this at the end. And that's it. You've just built a simple AI chatbot that knows everything about your product from its documentation, provides trustworthy answers with sources, and requires zero coding. What you can do from here is expand its knowledge source. You can point the website content crawler at your blog posts, your help articles, or even product pages. And this same pattern can work for any website, not just documentation. Customer support can use it for the knowledge base, like we just showed. Sales teams can use it for the product information, and content teams can use it to make their blog searchable by AI. So if you want to try this for yourself, Apify has a free tier which you can sign up to and test this entire workflow without paying anything. Now, if you have any questions, drop them in the chat and we can tackle them through our live Q&A.